A Marital Law Guide. Chapter 1. The Legal Aspects of Marriage. The legal aspects of marriage. Marriage is not as simple as falling in love, doing the ceremony thing and signing a piece of paper. There are laws about marriage differing in every state and country in the world. Even though they're generally basically the same, there are differences. To get information about marital laws in your county, look in your phone book under county or city government, then look under licenses for marriage license or find your county website on the internet. Many of these offices have a short guidebook or fact sheet about the marriage procedure. Some are now requiring a premarital course before marriage and even a divorce-proof contract where they won't divorce you unless you've been married for at least 2 years, but this is currently rare. Nevertheless, some county justice systems are swamped with divorces. Call your local marriage license office at the county administration building and ask about local laws. Most states require official documentation when you go to get your marriage license from the civil office, like a photo ID and a birth certificate, divorce and annulment papers if applicable, and the death certificate of a deceased spouse. There might be a medical or blood test requirement because you need to disclose if you have a sexually transmitted disease, more specifically, AIDS, to your new spouse. A few states even require both parties to get complete physical examinations performed by a doctor. There are age of consent laws about a minor, somebody under 18, getting married. In some states, it's illegal; in others, the minor needs a parent's signature. In Massachusetts, the age is 12, in Hawaii, 14, in Arkansas, 16. There are laws against relatives marrying, such as first cousins marrying, laws against polygamy, 2 or more wives, and laws against marrying another while you're still legally married even though you may be separated. You have to cut the knot legally first before you marry again. If you don't, there could be all kinds of hassles when you die as to who has the rights to your estate. A marriage entered into to fool the U.S. Immigration and Naturalization Service is illegal and subject to criminal prosecution and deportation. ins.usdoj.gov, ins.gov. Currently, 26 states have a waiting period of between 1 to 5 days before you can have the marriage ceremony. A recognized public official must sign the marriage license, typically a member of the clergy or court clerk, notary, judge, justice of peace or ship's captains, and some military officers. Some states require a witness or 2, some don't. The wife typically takes the husband's surname, but this is becoming less common as women choose to keep some of their independence. When you change your name, you must inform all government entities, banks, insurance companies, etc. When it comes to money, each side is obligated to support the other when and as required. The couple can now file joint income tax returns. They are entitled to spousal benefits on retirement, pension, medical plans, and insurance rates are generally cheaper for couples. There are such things as proxy marriages, where if a person can't attend his own wedding because he's in jail, in the military, or otherwise occupied, someone else can stand in his place. Homosexual marriages are currently illegal in some places. Some benefits of marriage are: one spouse is automatically entitled to a portion of the other spouse's estate at death even if they're not in the will. Lower insurance costs as a family. Privileged communication, one spouse can't testify against another in court. Right to benefits dependent on spouse's contribution to Social Security and other pensions. You can make medical decisions about an incapacitated spouse. You can visit your spouse in the hospital during times of crisis when only family are allowed to visit them. There are many other minor local laws. Some states have laws stating that depriving the spouse of sex is grounds for divorce. Married couples don't legally have to live with each other. Some states state that it's a wife's responsibility to bear children if the husband wants them, while other states state that it's clearly the woman's decision to do what she wants with her body. Consider going to your local courthouse to read up on marriage laws. For general information about current marriage and divorce laws like age, waiting period, etc., refer to the World Almanac, which should be at hashtag 031 at the library, or go to the Family Law section at hashtag 346.7101 and K559 or KF529 at the library. law.cornell.edu/topics/marriage.html. NACO.org, National Association of Counties. For information on the web about any county government department, use the following formula. Try co.name of county. 2 letter state abbrevation like co.losangeles.ca.us. For cities, try ci.name of city. 2 letter state abbrevation like ci.pittsburgh.pa.us. For communities like towns and villages, try community.name of community. 2 letter state abbrevation like community.floyd.va.us. Capacity to consent. A marriage requires 2 consenting people. Not consensual shouldn't be all that hard to define. It means the person is either in a position where they're not of sound mind, cannot or does not understand what it means to be married because of mental illness, drugs, alcohol, sickness, etc., or they're put into a position where they have no choice, namely coercion, threats, etc. If a girl's father goes up to the guy who impregnated her and tells him to marry the daughter otherwise he'll shoot him, this is called a shotgun wedding. It's illegal and enough grounds for annulment. If fraud is involved, like getting married in order to attain immigration status, that could be constituted an illegal wedding and annulled. Arranged marriages could be enough grounds for coercion in the United States. Back in the old country, in some cultures, if the old man tells his daughter to marry her smelly 60-year-old uncle, she has no choice, but in America, it's coercion. If you get married like this, you have the right to get it annulled. Engagement failure. When 2 people get engaged, it doesn't mean much legally because they're not married, but if they break up, there's a general legal protocol, namely that the one who breaks up is the one who loses the ring. All other gifts not relevant to the direct engagement ritual are gone. If you give your girl your car just because you love her and she breaks up with you, you might try to get it back in court, but you will have a hard time because it was a gift. If you give her the car contingent upon getting married and she breaks up, she technically violated the contract, so you might be able to get it back in that case if you can get evidence like witnesses who will say that the gift was contingent on the marriage. It could even be construed as fraud on her part. Gifts of courtship before the engagement are generally not recoverable. If the engagement doesn't work out, some states have laws or common law case decisions which require the girl to give the ring back, but protocol says the one who cheated or backed out is the loser. If the girl backs out, she returns the ring. If the guy backs out, she keeps the ring. If it's a family heirloom, give it back. The legal reasoning is that the marriage contract was not fulfilled, so it doesn't satisfy the criteria of gift. If you're the guy and didn't cheat and want the ring back and she doesn't want to give it, you have to take her to small claims court or civil court if it's worth more than $5,000. Although corny, try to give the ring and other gifts in front of witnesses and state specifically that they're gifts contingent upon fulfillment of the marriage contract. There are gifts called gifts of pursuit which are given when you're chasing the girl and not as part of the engagement, so they're harder to recover because they were given before the engagement. Birthday and other special occasion gifts are considered different than engagement gifts, so they're harder to recover too. If the girl tried to suck you out of gifts then leave you, you might be able to sue her for fraud. Gifts to a minor you plan to marry can't be recovered at all. Gifts from third parties must be returned, especially if you're the one who caused the breakup. For example, if his mother gave you a sewing machine for the new house and you break up, give it back to be a decent person and to avoid hassles. Although rare, some states hear cases of alienation of affection where you can sue a third party, the girl your man was cheating with, for breaking you two up and causing emotional distress. Leaving property to lover, gay or straight. Quite often, if one of an unmarried couple dies, as next of kin, the parents or kids come in to claim the stuff. Your only recourse is to make up a will beforehand and specify that this person was your faithful lover and that you're leaving everything to him or her. Cousins marrying / consanguineous unions. First cousin marriages are illegal in some states. Second cousin marriages don't seem to be, but I don't even know what a second cousin is. I think it's the cousin of your cousin. A consanguineous union is the offspring of first cousins. Asians used to marry their first cousins, but it's dying down. There are even laws against it in some countries. People used to marry their cousins in the past simply because there were very few people that people socialized with. Imagine living on a farm in the 18th century. The furthest you could go in one day was about 10 miles by horse, then 10 miles back, so dates were rare. The roads were really bad back then, so you got 10 miles if you were lucky. That means that in your lifetime you wouldn't meet anyone who lived more than 10 miles away from you. There was a case about a man who had a son by his first marriage, then remarried and had a daughter, so they were half brother and sister. It was illegal for them to marry because they had the same biological father with different mothers. However, as far as I know, if a guy and a girl become stepbrother and stepsister by marriage with no biological link, they can marry. Relatives marrying / cousins marriage laws. If a man marries his sister or half-sister, they shall be publicly disgraced and driven out of the community. He has had intercourse with his sister and must suffer the consequences. Leviticus 20:17. Most harmful genes are recessive by nature, that is to say that they are dominated by an equivalent safe gene. Generally speaking, we need to inherit 2 copies of the recessive gene, one from each parent, for the disease to have any effect. Producing offspring from a close relative increases the risk of the child receiving 2 copies of the same recessive. Even though we commonly think of incest as the father manipulating or straight out forcing his young daughters to have sex with him, in the legal sense, incest refers to anyone marrying or having sex with someone who is so closely related to them that they're not allowed to legally get married, like a brother and a sister. In most states, any relations closer than cousins aren't allowed to marry. In some states, first cousins are allowed to marry, in others only second cousins or more distant relatives can legally marry one another. In most states, the closest relative you can marry is a second cousin. Some states allow first cousin marriages with a genetic counseling certificate. In general, a marriage may not take place in the United States between the following relationships regardless of whether the players are legally tied or illegitimately birthed: an ancestor and descendant parent, grandparent, great-grandparent, child, grandchild, great-grandchild, brother and sister, full or half-blood, uncle and niece, aunt and nephew. If this is an issue, check with the Marriage License Bureau in the town where the marriage will take place. Even though in the past, blood relatives often had sex with one another in some cultures, currently, incest is a universal taboo worldwide. The most standard definition is probably anyone having sexual relations with a parent, son or daughter, brother, sister, half-brother or half-sister, with one parent in common, uncle, aunt, niece, nephew, grandparent, great-grandparent, grandchild and great-grandchild. Some places legally prohibit relations with a first cousin, stepchild, step-parent, parent-in-law, child-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, a spouse's grandchild from a previous marriage or grandparent. Some places are pretty lax with the law relating to in-laws and stepchildren or parents. If there's no blood tie there, the law prefers to ignore it, but this is not so in all places. I've seen a few stories in the media where a stepbrother and sister were criminally charged for having a baby together and getting married. In the end, they weren't allowed to be legally married, so the marriage was annulled, but they continued to live together without the marriage license. As far as I know, marriage between first cousins is legal in about 20 states. If you plan to marry a cousin, second cousin, niece, nephew, uncle, aunt, etc., you should check with local laws before you proceed. The anti-argument asserts that there is a 1/16 to 1/32 chance that common genes from the grandparents' gene pool could cause complications in the subsequent births of 2 relatives conceiving. However, counter-arguments say this is all crap. Birth defects are an individual thing with everybody. If a grandparent has a dominant gene for something like MS, there's a slight risk that the MS gene is passed on from both partners to the baby, but it's not that high. Step-siblings should be allowed to get married as long as there's no bloodline, kinda like one comes from one parent biologically and the other comes from separate parents altogether. For example, a woman comes into a marriage with her daughter. A guy marries her and his son lives with them, so you got technically step-siblings living in the same house, but there's no bloodline, so if they want to get married, no problem. If there's some blood relations, like the father brings his 2-year-old son into a new marriage, has a biological daughter with his new wife, and 20 years later, these step-siblings fall in love, I heard that they're legally not allowed to get married, but I saw at least one couple fighting this in court. If anyone knows the laws in this area, I ask that you please send it to me so I can add it to the next edition of this book. It is legal in all 50 states to marry your second cousin. In Indiana, Kentucky, Nevada, Ohio, Washington, and Wisconsin, you can't marry your first cousin or first cousin once removed. Your first cousin once removed is the child of your first cousin. In Arkansas, Delaware, Iowa, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, New Hampshire, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, Montana, North Dakota, Nebraska, Oregon, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Texas, West Virginia, and Wyoming, you cannot marry a first cousin, but you can marry a first cousin once removed, the child of a first cousin. In Louisiana, Mississippi, Oregon, West Virginia, you can marry an adopted first cousin. If you marry your cousin where it's legal, then come back to the state, they'll let you get away with it in Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Washington, West Virginia, Wyoming. In Indiana, first cousins, or first once removed, can get together as long as they're both over 65 and infertile. In Wisconsin, the woman has to be over 55 or at least one of the two people to be infertile for first cousins to marry. In Alaska, Alabama, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Vermont, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., there are no cousin marriage laws. Marry a relative websites. angelfire.com/on/cousin/index.html, cousin marriage resources, cousin marriage links, stories, and mailing list. chenouthsite.com/chenkiss.htm, kissing cousins, listing of cousin marriages. Consang.net, International Consortium on Consanguinity, worldwide statistics on marriages between first cousins, uncles, and nieces and other consanguineal relationships. CousinCouples.com, Cousin Couples, interactive support network for those romantically involved with their cousin. press.uillinois.edu/f96/ottenhay.html, Forbidden Relatives, the American myth of cousin marriage, challenges the belief widely held in the United States that legislation against marriage between first cousins is based on a biological risk to offspring. wordofTruthradio.com/question/37.html, Can we marry our cousins? A biblical perspective on cousin marriage. CousinCouples.com. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/cousin_marriage_case_in_the_United_States. biharanjuman.org/marrying_relatives.htm. cousincouples.com/info/facts.shtml. cousincouples.com. ethicsscoreboard.com/list/cousins.html. genforum.familytreemaker.com/keaton/messages/698.html. isteve.com/cousin_marriage_conundrum.htm. comet.com/e-content/amusement/relations.htm. lavistachichovchrist.org/lvanswers/2005/01-13.htm. Can you marry a near relative by marriage? lawlibrary.ucdavis.edu/lawlib/jan97/0136.html, Cousins marrying. megaessays.com/essay_search/cousins_marrying.html. straightdope.com/column/041001.html, What's Wrong with Cousins Marrying? Chapter 2. Marriage Law Info. Marriage law websites. Every county in the United States has certain laws about marriage. You can find this information by calling your local county clerk's or county records office. Get blood tests necessary to get the marriage license. Most states require blood tests for venereal diseases, and at least 14 states require that couples receive information about AIDS. Contact your local Health and Human Services office, AIDS helpline, or your doctor for information about marital test requirements. imap.org, Institute for Marriage and Public Policy. MarriageDebate.com. 911-legalhelp.com. 1800bride2b.com/articles/marriage-laws_ch. art.ht. alabar.org/brochures, Alabama. businesschambers.com. choice101.com/333-marriage.html, marriage for straights, gays, or both. comparelaw.com. courts.co.calhoun.mi.us/book012.htm, Manual on Michigan Marriage Law. family.findlaw.com/marriage/marriage-basics. family-law.freeadvice.com. family-law.freeadvice.com/common-law-marriage.htm. family-lawyer.net, Legal Aspects of the Russian Marriage. family.org/c forum/news/0038885.cfm. findlaw.com. getmarriedanywhere.com. glencoe.com/sec/socials2d/street_law/textbook. great-legal-advice.com. illinoislawyerfinder.com/publicinfo/domestic. lawcatalog.net. law.cornell.edu/topics/marriage.html. law.cornell.edu/topics/table_marriage.htm, state marriage laws. law-library.rutgers.edu/ssm.html. lectlaw.com/dev2/m087.htm. lectlaw.com/tfam.html. legalaffairs.org. legalaffairs.org/web exclusive/debateclub_m0505. MSP, Legal Affairs Debate Club, Should States Abolish Marriage? legal-issues.sequel.com. legalranks.com. le-mariage.com, French. lmaw.org, Legal Marriage Alliance of Washington. lmaw.org/freedom/page03.htm, Freedom to Marry. What is marriage? loveandthelaw.com/books.html. loveandthelaw.com/mediation.html. loveandthelaw.com/sitemap.html. Marriage. Dead website, try.com, thoughtco.com, verywell.com, and thebalance.com/cs/intercultural/is/internation. Al-Marriage, Marriages Worldwide. nalo.com/law center. northernway.org/marriagelaws.html. pemberley.com/janeinfo/pp-topic2.html, Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice, Notes on Marriage Legalities. kia.com/tq/22653 html, 18 Legal Aspects of Marriage. religiostolerance.org/hom_marw.htm. solicitorindia.net/legal.html, Marriage in India. uscg.mil/d7/d7dl/marriage_and_divorce.htm. usmarriagelaws.com. usmarriagelaws.com/united_states. usmarriagelaws.com/search/united_states. vatican.va/roman_curious/congregation/see faith. vsb.org/publication/brochure/married.html, Virginia. vsb.org/section/fa/pdf/marriage in va.pdf, Marriage in Virginia. wedding-laws.sequel.com. Marriage license websites. lawfullywedded.com. modernbride.com/budget/question_license mbm0900.html, marriage license regulations. Marriage license by state. ncsl.org, state legislatures. Call these numbers to help you navigate your way through the state government systems of your choice. Think of them as your state government operators. Alabama. 334-242-8000. State.al.us. Alaska. 907-465-2111. State.ak.us. Arizona. 602-542-4900. az.gov. State.az.us. Arkansas. 501-682-3000. State.ar.us. ark.org. California. 916-322-9900 North. 213-620-3030 South. ca.gov. State.ca.us. agency.resource.ca.gov/official. dhs.ca.gov/hisp/ch/over/marriage/faq.htm, California marriage. dhs.ca.gov/hisp/chs/over/marriage/generalinfo.html, California marriage license, registration and ceremony information. Colorado. 303-866-5000. State.co.us. Connecticut. 203-566-2211. State.ct.us. Delaware. 302-739-4000 Kent. 302-577-2011 Newcastle. 302-856-5011 Sussex. State.de.us. Delaware.gov. District of Columbia. Washington, D.C.gov. Florida. 904-488-1234. State.fl.us. foreign.edu. Georgia. 404-656-2000. State.ga.us. gainty.org. doas.state.ga.us. Hawaii. 800-468-4644. State.hi.us. hawaii.gov/health. Idaho. 208-334-2411. State.id.us. accessidaho.org. Illinois. 217-782-2000. State.il.us. cyberdriveillinois.com. Indiana. 317-232-1000. State.in.us. in.gov. ai.org. Iowa. 515-281-5011. State.ia.us. Kansas. 913-296-0111. State.ks.us. accesskansas.org. Kentucky. 502-564-3130. State.ky.us. kydirect.net. Louisiana. 504-342-6600. State.la.us. Maine. 207-582-9500. State.me.us. Maryland. State.md.us. sailor.lib.md.us. mdarchives.state.md.us. Massachusetts. 727-7030. State.ma.us. mass.gov/portal. mass-doc.com/Massachusetts_marriage_certificates, Massachusetts. Michigan. 517-373-1837. State.mi.us. Michigan.gov. mlink.lib.umich.edu/me-government/me-government-index.html. Minnesota. 612-296-6013. State.mn.us. revisor.leg.state.mn.us. Mississippi. 601-359-1000. State.ms.us. ms.gov. Missouri. 314-751-2000. State.mo.us. services.more.net/stofmoinfo/services. dis.state.mn.us, Department of Education. Montana. 406-444-2511. State.mt.us. mt.gov/css. discoveringmontana.com. Nebraska. 402-471-2311. State.ne.us. Nevada. 702-687-5000. State.nv.us. co.clark.nv.us/clerk/marriage_information. HTM, Nevada. New Hampshire. 603-271-1110. State.nh.us. New Jersey. 609-292-2121. State.nj.us. New Jersey.gov. New Mexico. 505-827-4011. State.nm.us. New York. 5518-474-2121. State.ny.us. chrisny.org/government/governmentnewyork.html. NISE.gov. health.state.ny.us/NISDO/consumer/VR/married. New York State Department of License. New York CMarriageBureau.com/about/FAQ.html. New York CMarriageBureau.com/download/marriage_officiant_registration. North Carolina. 919-733-1110. State.nc.us. ncgov.com. legislature.state.nc.us. sips.state.nc.us. North Dakota. 701-328-2000. State.nd.us. discovernd.com. vm1.nodac.edu. Ohio. 614-466-2000. State.oh.us. freenet.columbus.oh.us/government center/state of Ohio. osc.edu/ohio/legislative information. Oklahoma. 405-521-2011. State.ok.us. oklahomaosf.state.ok.us. youroklahoma.com. Oregon. State.or.us. Oregon.gov. Pennsylvania. 717-787-2121. State.pa.us. Rhode Island. 401-277-2000. State.ri.us. South Carolina. 803-734-1000. State.sc.us. mycgov.com. South Dakota. 605-773-3011. State.sd.us. Tennessee. 615-741-3011. State.tn.us. TennesseeAnytime.org. Texas. 512-463-4630. State.tx.us. Texas.gov. Capital.tlc.texas.gov. tdoc.texas.gov, Department of Commerce. Utah. 801-538-3000. State.ut.us. Utah.gov. Utah.edu/off-campus information/state of Utah. Utahmarriage.org. Vermont. 802-828-1110. State.vt.us. Virginia. 804-786-0000. State.va.gov. State.va.us/home/govermt.html. Virginia.edu/admin/govrel. Washington. 360-753-5000. State.wa.us. Access.wa.gov. Leginfo.leg.wa.gov. West Virginia. 304-558-3456. State.wv.us. wvnvm.wvnet.edu. Wisconsin. 608-266-2211. State.wi.us. Wisconsin.gov/state/home. Wyoming. 307-777-5910. State.wy.us. State.wy.us/wgov/wl. Some specific marriage license offices. acgov.org/auditor/clerk/marriage1.htm, Alameda County, California. bdm.nsw.gov.au, New South Wales, Australia. bmd-certificates.co.uk/marriage.html, England. cdpe.state.co.us/hs/marriage.html, Colorado. ci.boston.ma.us/registry/registermarriage.asp. cltr.co.douglas.nv.us/marriage-faq.htm, Douglas County, NV. co.calhoun.mi.us/docs/marriageform.html, Michigan. co.clark.nv.us/recorders/certs.htm, Clark County, NV. co.san-diego.ca.us/arcc/services/marriage_certificates. dhfs.state.wi.us/vital-records/marriage.htm. Get a marriage record in Wisconsin. dhs.ca.gov/hisp/chs/over/public marriage order certificates, California. doh.state.fl.us/planning_eval/vital_statistics, Florida. doh.wa.gov/sphl/chs/cert.htm, Washington State. DominicanWeddings.net/certificate.htm, Dominican Republic. Dorado.ca.us/county clerk/confidential.html, El Dorado County, California. dph.state.ct.us/op/pdfs/vs-39m.pdf, Connecticut. Hawaii.gov/health/vital-records/vital-records, Hawaii. health.state.ga.us/program/vital-records/marriage, Georgia. health.state.ny.us/vital_records/marriage.htm, New York State. hhs.state.ne.us/sed/macert.htm, Nebraska. hss.state.ak.us/dph/bvs/heirloom_marriage/default, Alaska. italiamerica.org/id3.htm, Italy. italiandualcitizenship.com/id3.htm, Italy. kdhex.gov/vital/marriage.html, Kansas. lawvote.net/recorder/birth_death.htm, Los Angeles. manchesternh.gov/citygov/clk/records/marriage certificates, Manchester, NH. oc.ca.gov/recorder/marker.ti.htm, Orange County. oph.dhh.state.la.us records statistics/vital-rec, Louisiana. saginawcounty.com/clerk/marriage.html, Michigan. ukcertificates.com, United Kingdom. vegasmarriagecertificates.com/order.php, Las Vegas.